Good evening, folks. This is our December 19th, the last meeting of our 2024 year. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel and Spectrum Channel 1302. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. If you would like to receive an electronic City Council packet to reference while viewing future broadcasts, please contact the City Clerk's office during business hours or go to the city's website and subscribe to the City Meetings email list. The agenda is also accessible from any mobile device. I'd like to ask Councilor Jones, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'd be honored. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Keaton Bosley.
Here.
Laura E. Tobin.
Here.
Michael J. Remy.
Here.
Randy L. Filio.
Here.
Robert C. Williams.
Here.
Edward J. Haas.
Here.
Philip M. Jones.
Present.
Andrew M. Madison.
Ho, ho, here.
Chris E. Roberts.
Here.
Jacob R. Favalis.
Here.
Brian J. Lake.
Here.
Catherine I. Workman.
Here.
Bettina A. Chadbourne.
Here.
Thomas F. Powers.
Here.
Mitchell H. Greenwald.
And we'll consider the minutes from our preceding December 5th meeting. Councilor Greenwald for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to accept the minutes of the December 5th, 2024 meeting as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Bosley. Any comments, corrections? All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. It carries unanimously. This evening, we have one birthday to announce for the month of December. It is Councilor Phil Jones. So I want to announce publicly that following a search process that began in August, the City Council has approved the appointment of Amanda Palmera as our new city attorney effective March 1, 2025. Congratulations, Amanda.
Yay.
I know, in addition to Attorney Mullins, the rest of the council looks forward to working with you, Amanda. Thank you. A reminder of our council workshop that will cover some rule of order requests that have come from the councilors. That's going to be on Tuesday, January 28th, and will begin at 6 p.m. If councilors have other specific topics of interest, whether it's rules of order or other matters that you would like to use the workshop to discuss, please let me know soon. The staff is starting to work on our agenda, and there will be an agenda for the workshop, so it won't just be a ad hoc. A reminder about our holiday party that's being hosted at the Keene State College President's Residence. Melinda Treadwell will greet us along with her college cabinet. So we'll be expediting this meeting in manners that hopefully we find help us. Yes, so one of those ways is that we will be entertaining motions that will take up a couple of items that are under a heading together. That will help shorten the meeting, hopefully. And if there are motions that are linked in a single motion and a councilor wishes to extract one of those items for further discussion, feel free to just call that out. Okay? All right, turn it over to the clerk.
So we will be taking the mayor's two slates of nominations, one that would reflect incumbents who are entitled to a second term, and the second slate are new citizens joining various public bodies.
And these were presented for first reading at our December 5th meeting, second reading tonight. I'd like to recognize Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Well, shall I make the one correction, Mayor?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yep, good. So on your B2 item, the nomination of Robert Milliken came in as a regular member.
Oh, yeah.
Upon further discussion with our outgoing chair, Von Plinsky, and sort of the transition to a new leadership on the Conservation Commission, Mr. Milliken is going to shift to an alternate position. So he'll be serving in an alternate and then under consideration to go to a regular after that. So that is the only change on item B2. And I'd be happy to read them through, but if you want to expedite, I'm happy to take a motion too.
I think we've seen these before, so. Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Boy, this is fast. Move to confirm sorry if I stutter and slow it down. Confirm the nominations.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Greenwald and seconded by Counselor Bosley. If there are any questions about the nominations, renominations or new, seeing none, all those in favor?
Well, that's a roll call.
It's a roll call.
Counselor
I tried.
Bosley.
Yes.
Counselor Tobin.
Yes.
Counselor Remy.
Yes.
Counselor Filio.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Counselor Haas.
Yes.
Counselor Jones.
Yes.
Counselor Madison.
Yes.
Counselor Roberts.
Yes.
Counselor Favelis.
Yes.
Counselor Lake.
Yes.
Counselor Workman.
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne.
Yes.
Counselor Powers.
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald.
We'll move on to new nominations.
Now, these are from the mayor, and they include to the Asheville River Park Advisory Board, a Leslie Casey, that's a regular slot to be expired December 31st, 2027. To the Conservation Commission, Deborah LeBlanc, who has been serving as an alternate, is going to move up to a regular position, again, December 31, 2027. And Sparky Von Plinsky, who has been the chair of the Conservation Commission and has termed out on his 2 consecutive terms, is going to shift down to an alternate. That is, happens to be an unexpired term, so it's December 31, 2025. To Energy and Climate Committee, Lisa Maxfield, she is currently a regular member, and she is seeking another term, December 31, 2027. Tim Murphy will be joining Energy and Climate, December 31, 2027, as well as a Steve Larman, again, a regular position, December 31, 2027. To the Heritage Commission, Collie Powell, he has been a regular, she has been a regular member, I believe she might be the chair, and she's maxed out on her terms, and she is shifting to an alternate position. And finally, to the Trustees of Trust Funds and Cemetery Trustees, Malcolm Katz, December 31, 2027.
Thank you. And we'll hold those nominations to our January 2nd meeting.
We have one communication this evening, and it's from Counselor Haas, and he's recommending that we initiate a process that would have boards and commissions submit annual reports as to their activities, challenges, goals, and ideas for the coming year.
So we'll refer that to the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee.
This will be our first instance where we're going to be looking to combine committee reports, and that would be all of the MSFI reports. And I'll just read them. We'll be looking for the chair to give a running rundown of all the background and recommendations for each. Again, as the mayor indicated, if there's a counselor here who would like to speak to an issue, say something before we start this voting process. But what we have before this sort of grouping of committee reports is the reduction of speed limits on Upper Roxbury Street, which has a recommendation for both more time and for the manager to be directed to evaluate potential solutions to reduce speed and improve safety. We have the Route 9 O'Sullivan Road, which is with a recommendation to direct the manager to carry out recommendations identified by the city engineer. We have the Red Pine Scale, which is a purely informational report. We have proposed changes to the Winchester Street, Wilson and Main Street, between Wilson and Main Street. This is a report that also is informational with the expectation that the committee would be receiving updates. And finally, the acceptance of the INAIDS Invest New Hampshire Planning and Zoning Grant, and this is to utilize funds to hire a consultant to expand the city's 79E program.
Actually, that one's, that's an
Oh,
FOP.
I'm sorry, you don't get that one, Counselor. So those 4 reports are ready for the chair to speak to.
Yeah, anybody wish to pull any of those out? Okay, Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee reports.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Greenwald, seconded by Counselor Filio.
You said it all.
Say
The
it
clerk
again.
said it all. Anyone have any questions? All in favor?
I got to maintain some control here. But, yeah, I mean, they are to be filed as informational, so I think if there are no questions, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Our second group of combined reports would be from the Finance Committee. And they include, again, the acceptance of the NH New Hampshire Planning and Zoning Grant. Another grant for the 2022 Homeland Security reallocation. This is from the Fire Department. We have the adoption of the new vote tabulation system for elections. That's when it is actually required by state statutes for the council to take a vote on whether you want to shift to a new electronic ballot counting device. We have the Transportation Heritage Trail acceptance of drainage easements, and this would authorize the manager to negotiate and accept and record drainage easements that are required for the Transportation Heritage Trail Phase 1. We have the reallocation of capital funds for the Findings Building demolition, which is looking to reallocate unencumbered funds from the recently completed skate park improvement project to the Findings Building demolition project. We have another one from Finance, which is looking to authorize a professional services contract for engineering services for the Key Road drainage replacement. And that is, again, authorizing the manager to negotiate and execute a professional services contract with SLR International. And our final finance report is dealing with professional services contract for the engineering services for the stormwater lining program. Again, the manager is being authorized to negotiate and execute a professional services contract with both New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services and Kleinfelder, who is the contractor, in the amount of $184,000, and it is using a ARPA grant for this engineering services, design, and permitting.
Counselor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee reports.
Second.
So moved by Counselor Powers, seconded by Counselor Remy.
The committee chair's got several messages, and in between those lines, it said brevity. So here, I'm gonna beat you. It's good stuff. Anybody got an objection?
Put your hand down.
Counselor Haas.
Counselor,
Stand up.
Counselor Haas.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thought I'd do that.
Just curious about the reallocation of funds from the skate park to the Findings Building work. I understand the skate park was partially funded by donations. Is that clarified between money that we put in and money that came from donations, and the people that made the donations are okay with the clarification?
Yeah, manager.
Thank you.
It's not the donations. Donations all went to the construction of the skate park. We had to apply for additional grant funds for the land and heritage, I can't remember, LCHIP, I think. We are moving, originally those funds were part of the Pat Russell Park, and we're moving them to be able to have the funds necessary for the demolition of the Findings Building. Is that wrong? Andy, come on up and.
Thank you, Andy Bohanna, Deputy City Manager. These should actually be switched. So the funding for the Invest New Hampshire should be going to I I apologize, I did not catch that until Patty just said that, and I've mentioned that to Mary. So this should be, the Invest New Hampshire funding for the demolition should be going into the skate park project, which is all encumbering that project.
What report are you correcting, Mr. Bohannon? D5?
No.
D9?
I see the motion.
D6.
9.
9. Why don't we do this in the manner that we had intended and pull D9 and have a conversation about that?
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Why don't we hold on this for just a
Should be
second,
held.
okay? Andy? We'll pull D9 out. We'll consider D5 through D11, excluding 9. Andy, don't go far. This won't take long. Any other questions on other topics here? Counselor Faveles.
Thank you, and this will be a good early Christmas gift to many people that I know, that there is a permanent video record of me in this outfit at a council meeting. But I just, I have a quick question for the clerk that I had asked her last week around the purchasing of the new voting machines. When that grant was originally approved, my understanding was that it was, a portion of it at least was to go towards a one-for-all voting system to comply with a new state statute. The clerk did inform me last week that there may have been some developments at the state level about that, and I wonder if there's any update on that.
Thank you, Counselor, for the question. So actually, just yesterday, we were invited to go to Concord for demonstrations of a new ABS system, an accessible device, voting device system. So it appears that the state has recognized that what they passed in legislation last year is an unfunded mandate to communities. And I think they're looking to rectify that by purchasing equipment that could be shared by both the state and local communities. So there were 3 vendors that they brought in, and they did a demonstration for the disabled community as well as local clerks in the area. And so it's probably best that we not expended any money, so we're on hold and hoping that the legislature rectifies this and fully funds this acquisition.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to be clear with the confusion where we took out number 9 because of the Invest New Hampshire funds. Is the Invest New Hampshire funds still in number 5? Or was it supposed to come out of there and go to 9?
It is in 5. It should be in 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
So number 5 is still good.
Oh, yeah, that's it, I can clarify. Yeah, that is a grant application to InvestNH for us to do some work on 79E, to take a look at our current 79E area, as well as looking at whether or not it makes sense to add some residential 79E zones.
I just want to make sure the funding was
Yes,
clear since
yeah,
they were changing.
separate,
Okay.
yeah.
And I'm glad you might have mentioned that. Counselor Remy had some questions in the committee meeting, and I'll be glad to go through that legislation, because when there was 21 in 21, at the same time that the mayor was bringing that to the council, I was bringing to the legislature this amendment to 79E. Which does allow for up to 4 units housing to use the 79E tax credit, which is a municipally issued tax credit, use that program for renovations of 1 to 4 unit housing projects. Okay. We have a motion and a second. So, seeing no further questions? Counselor
Your
Haas.
Honor, do we have to amend that motion since we're removing item 9?
Call it a
We're-
friendly to remove number 9.
It's accepted by both, yeah.
Okay.
So we are now considering items 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11. All those in favor? And the motion carries for those. So we'll now take up item number 9. And Counselor Powers, do you, anything further, or shall we recognize Counselor, Deputy Manager? Deputy Manager, can we ask you, clear up any confusion here?
Apologies. So what has occurred is when we received the LWCF funds, that matched the donation fund that received from the folks who did all the fundraising. That money was used as the match for the Invest New Hampshire money, which also incurs all of the rest of the skate park project. So the sidewalk, the fence that still needs to go up. So the Invest New Hampshire money should be going into the LWCF project. And I apologize that
That's,
so it should be 65J008A. Is that correct?
says B.
Yeah, but he's saying it needs to be amended to say A.
And is that the only change?
I'm sorry, Patty, sorry.
Counsel, I'm just looking for the change to this motion. Is it just a reference to your project code number?
It's just a reference to the project code. Apologize, that was not taken care of.
And so the change is the fund number, which is 65J308E.
A.
A.
Because he's moving it to the findings demo project.
The findings demo project includes all of the work to connect it to the state park? Is that the underlying issue?
I think so,
I think that's it.
yeah.
So Andy, just so I'm clear as well for everybody, but, so when you're moving it to the findings building demo project, that's connected to the the skate park project through the fencing and everything else that's going to be associated with that,
That
right?
is correct.
That's
The-
why
the-
it says findings building demo project, even though it's really, it's helping complete the skate park project.
Correct. That's where the confusion
It's
came from.
helping to complete the demo.
It is the demo, but then all
Yeah.
the rest of it is connected to the skate park,
Yes,
Okay.
right?
yes,
Doing two things, completing the demo, finishing up with the skate park work.
correct. And because the LWCF funds are what's connecting in the match, what is needed for the demolition.
Got it.
Counselor Remy.
Move to amend the
Yeah.
motion as presented to send the funds to project number 65J0008A.
Second?
Correct.
We've got an amendment. Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page now. Okay, we've got an amendment before us. Any comments further? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion, the amended motion's now on the floor.
Thank you.
Any further comment?
Thank you, Your Honor. Move for the adoption of amended committee report. And it's, for those who still have the paper stuff, it's number D9.
Second.
No, yeah, we've already moved in second, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I think
good.
We're good. Okay, Counselor Haas.
Thank you, Your Honor. Wow, my concern is just that the folks that did the fundraising are clear where the money is going. I trust that FOP covered that in their work. So thank you for covering that in your work.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's the grant dollars.
Okay, no further comments. We'll go for the vote. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Moving on to section E, manager's report.
Only one thing for you tonight, and I get to be Vanna for a moment. So this, we just received this week. So the city of Keene has been named a housing champion by the state of New Hampshire. And we just received this award this week, and this award honors communities that have demonstrated a strong commitment to expanding housing opportunities for residents of all income levels. And it also makes the city eligible to apply for 2 grants opening in January of 2025. That's the Invest in Infrastructure money that I've talked about previously. The city of Keene was one of 18 communities statewide to receive this designation. So it's only 18 of us were competing for that pot of money. The scoring process considered several significant steps that Keene has taken to address housing needs, including several major updates to the city's zoning and land use regulations to encourage more housing development, including adoption of the Cottage Court Overlay District and changes to rules for accessory dwelling units. Recent and planned improvements to transportation, walkability, and water and sewer infrastructure to support housing development. So that was actually 30 points of the award, was looking at our capital plan, our maintenance plan, our water sewer infrastructure that's available to support housing. And so that was really important. So of the 18 that received this award in the state, only 5 scored above 100, and we got the highest score. I think it was 128. That's why we have the little star on the top. It's like one of the 5. We're not competitive or anything, but they did a great job. Mary Bruner and Evan Clement put this application together, and they took all of the work that all of you have been doing in capital planning and zoning changes, and they articulated that in this application and were awarded this. So congratulations to all of you for that work.
It's a high honor. Glad to, and well-deserved. Moving on.
Going forward, we have a memorandum from the Finance Director Treasurer about a donation that was received from the Keene Kiwanis Club.
Councilor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that the city council accept the donation in the amount of $351.29 from the Keene Kiwanis for the purchase of 8 balanced bikes to support Keene Parks and Rec Toddler Movement Monday programming, and that the city manager be authorized to use the donation as specified by the donor.
Second.
Any further comments? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously, and for the minute taker, that was seconded by Councilor Remy.
We have we actually have a memorandum from the fire chief, which is in need of a suspension of your rules. It is a time-sensitive matter, and it deals with the acceptance of funding through the 2024 AFG grant.
I'd like to recognize Councilor Powers for a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to suspend the rules of order to act upon the grant application for the 2024 AFG grant in the amount of $569,129 or $26.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Remy. This will take a roll call and a 2/3 vote.
Council Bosley?
Yes.
Council Tobin?
Yes.
Council Remy?
Yes.
Council Filio?
Yes.
Council Williams?
Yes.
Council Haas?
Yes.
Council Jones?
Yes.
Council Madison?
Yes.
Council Roberts?
Yes.
Council Favalese?
Yes.
Council Lake?
Yes.
Council Workman?
Yes.
Council Chadbourne?
Yes.
Council Powers?
Yes.
Council Greenlaw?
Yes.
We have suspended the rules. I'd like to ask Fire Chief Martin to come forward and explain the AFG grant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Jason Martin, Fire Chief. And thank you for suspending the rules to listen to my request tonight. The reason for the not following the regular process was a very short time frame. There was a short window between when the application process opened to when it closes tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And I was waiting for estimates to come back so I could get itemized numbers for training and equipment that we'd like to apply for. I now have all the information back. Again, I have itemized I have itemized prices, and that's why I'm here tonight to, not following the normal rules. I'm asking for you to authorize the city manager to do all things necessary to apply, accept, and execute, and expend the 2024 AFG grant in the amount of $569,126. Just a little background, if applied for, there is a 10% required match to the grant, and it does not cover fringe benefits for any compensation. If awarded the grant, the fire department will be requesting a supplement of $80,387 in FY's 26 budget to cover the gap. Two major components of the grant that we'd like to apply for. One is for training, and one is for replacement of equipment. The training program would train our members to the technician level in confined space rescue. With the number of new firefighters hired over the past few years, we have lost most of our technicians through attrition. It is a must that we properly train the newer members so we can continue to provide this service. The equipment component that we intend to apply for is to replace 2 of our ambulance power cots and add power load systems to go with those cots. There's currently no funding source to replace these items, and they are at the end of their service life. So just for some numbers, the training component is $255,858. The amount for the equipment is $313,267 for the grand total of $569,126. I do have a little bit further breakdown if anyone is interested, but I'll be happy to try to answer any questions.
Thank you. And the grantor is who?
This is the Assistance to Firefighter Grant through FEMA.
FEMA.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions? Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity, 10% would be like 56,000. I thought I heard you say 83,000.
You said benefits.
Good question. Let me explain the breakdown. So when I did the price for the confined space rescue, backing out the fringe benefits, the total cost was $255.58. If you figure the fringe benefits, which is part of that supplement that I need to ask for in 2026, that itself is $67,033. When you add that to the $56,912 that you spoke about, it comes to $123,945. I currently have a line item in my budget for grant match for $43,599. So that's how I came to the supplemental request of $80,000 short.
Further comments? Counselor Haas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Chief, do you know when the grant would be awarded if we're successful?
They say September.
Thank you. Counselor Madison?
Thank you. How many firefighters do we need to train to technician level, and where are they going for their training?
Yes, so the price is to bring a specialized training company in here to train. We've put in to train our members here. They provide the equipment, but they come into Keene, into our station, and train. And when you say a number, we're gonna hopefully get every member, even if they have already taken it. Like myself, I took it probably 20 years ago. If there's people that are certified, it's always good for a refresher. So hopefully every member.
Sounds great. Thank you.
This is an application, so wish you well in the process.
Thank you.
No further questions?
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
I wish you well in the process. It's a big grant, and yeah, it's worth the time and effort. All right, any further comments? So were you able to do a hand vote on this? Yes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Going going forward, we have two memorandums from the Joint Planning Board Planning License and Development Committee. It's two additional ordinances on the Land Development Code changes. The first one is on residential parking requirements. It is ordinance, they amended it at the workshop level, so it is now ordinance O 2024-20A, or an ordinance relating to residential parking requirements. The planning board found the A version consistent with the master plan, and the PLD component of this joint board is requesting that the mayor set a public hearing.
And we'll set that public hearing for Thursday, January 16th at 7:05.
Our second ordinance from the joint committee is on ordinance O 2024-24A. This is an ordinance that initiated from the petitioner as a change to the side setbacks in the downtown edge zone. It was amended in the workshop to include side and rear setbacks. And so it is appearing before you tonight is ordinance O 2024-24A. Master plan confirmed by the planning board, and the PLD component is looking for a public hearing to be set.
We'll file a memorandum and set that public hearing for Thursday, February 6th at 7 o'clock.
All right, so now we are at all of our ordinances for, well, actually, we got more time reports.
Yep.
We have 5 more time reports. They are designated loading zones, that's an ordinance. We have Council Williams' discharge of fireworks. We got the sign code modifications from the mayor. We got another section 15 of the rules of order on voting and conflict of interest, and Council Filio's communication about, or his request that we delay the downtown infrastructure project. I did want to bring to the council's attention that I attached to that more time report some financial data that was presented by the Public Works Director when they were discussing it before Finance. It's a very important information. I thought it handy to have when this issue does finally come back to Finance. So that is attached to that more time report.
So more time will be granted to these 5 for committee consideration.
We have no ordinances for first reading. We've got 6 ordinances for second reading. So we're starting off with ordinance O 2023-16C. And it is an ordinance relating to amendments to the Land Development Code, charitable gaming. Again, a C version.
Before considering the committee's recommendation, we have an outstanding conflict of interest on file from Councilor Greenwald that was submitted when the ordinance was first introduced about a year ago. Councilor Greenwald, do you wish to amend your conflict statement?
Thank you, Your Honor. My light is on, thank you. I do not directly want to amend it, but now that the ordinance is including drive-up windows, I think that needs to be included in the conflict. And I hope to still call it a conflict. I have a downtown business that could be involved in this, so I wish to remain recused. Thank you.
Without objection from the council, we'll excuse Councilor Greenwald from this consideration. Okay. I'd like to recognize Councilor Bosley.
Move to adopt ordinance O-2023-16-C.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Bosley, seconded by Councilor Jones. Councilor Bosley.
Thank you, Your Honor. So this is an ordinance that you should all be very familiar with. We've had several public hearings here. We've spent a lot of time working on the fine detail of this. I'm not going to belabor all of the intricacies, but what I will say is that the committee did remove the EVV charging stations. We did establish some streets that we think were appropriate for this type of use. Those include West Street, west of Island, Winchester Street, south of Island, Main Street, south of Route 101, north of Silent Way, Key Road, Ashbrook Road, and Pitt Street. There were some other standards that we set in this ordinance as relating to charitable gaming facilities that I think we've all heard and we've not seen any objections to. And the last part, as Councilor Greenwald pointed out, is this ordinance will also restrict drive-throughs in the downtown location and allow them by right in Commerce. Let's see, I believe Commerce Limited, and then with a special exception in the downtown growth. The committee is very happy with where we're at with this, and it was, came through with an objection, which I'm sure we'll hear about, but not necessarily in relating to the information inside the ordinance, but more of a principal objection. Thank you.
Counselor Jones?
So you're looking at me, so I guess you wanted a reply.
I did-
As you know, I've been opposed to this from the very beginning, for many, many reasons, but we want to expedite tonight, so I'll keep it short. First of all, I don't think gaming should be a special entity. It's entertainment like everything else. It's no different than a bowling alley or a theater or a ballpark or anything else. I don't think we should be picking on this one entity because of what it does. And I know there are people within the city that don't like gaming, but you know what? If you don't do it, it's going to go somewhere else. You're not going to restrict it. The benefit of this gaming is a local nonprofit gets 35% of everything they take in. If they go somewhere else, and there's plenty of opportunities in Winchester and Walpole and Claremont and so on, those local nonprofits are going to gain from that, and not the Keene local nonprofits. If you were at the very first public hearing that we had on this subject, there were 2 restaurant owners from the area who begged us not to put restrictions on gaming because gaming is going to bring more life into the community, and I certainly support that. If you ever look at downtown Springfield, Massachusetts, 15 years ago, downtown Springfield, Massachusetts was known for go-go bars and peep shows and a lot of kind of activities that people don't like. Now, if you go downtown Springfield, since they put in the new MGM, there's actually furniture stores and tchotchke stores and jewelry stores. There's even a Rolex dealer down there. There's even a supermarket. Big Y opened this grocery store down there. There hasn't been a supermarket in downtown Springfield since the 1960s. It does have the ability to change and bring money into the community. I think we should be using it as an anchor and not as a deterrent. And so for this, I'll be voting no.
Well, that ignited some comment. Counselor Bosley?
So without going over my personal feelings about gaming, I do want to point out that since we started working on this ordinance, the state has passed a moratorium on historic horse racing licenses, and so the specifics of these licenses are that they are tied to the community. So our local casino that does have a license cannot take it to an adjacent community and use that same license. The state has presented us with information that has made it clear that these casinos need these licenses to be profitable, that there are charitable gaming licenses for table games, but in order for them to really be profitable, they do need the historic horse racing component, and that really means that they need to be of a certain size, and that these licenses are not being issued going forward. So I think that what the committee really worked with here, and just to clarify, is that we already have a licensed casino in our community, and with the understanding that that casino might want to expand at some point, like where would we really want to see it in the community, and where does that make sense? So I think from, at least until that moratorium is lifted, I think that we're talking about a very narrow scope of impact by adopting this.
Counselor Remy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to the Springfield example, I know that there are a lot more stores in some parts of Springfield, specifically in the casino. But the hotel I usually have to stay in there for work if I'm staying in Springfield now has to escort you to that part of town if you want to go there from a security perspective. So there are pluses and minuses to that. So I just would be careful to use the Springfield example.
Counselor Madison?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would second Counselor Remy's comments about the Springfield example. I grew up outside of Springfield, unfortunately, and I remember it back in the day. You didn't go to downtown Springfield because it was not a very safe place to go. That has largely not changed. Some parts of Springfield are getting a little better, but that has been largely in the last 4 years because, you know, sometime around spring 2020, a bunch of people in Boston decided they didn't want to live in Boston anymore and fled up here and to Western Massachusetts. So I would really shudder to say that MGM has been a positive for downtown Springfield. I lived in that area when the casino proposal came in. It was extremely divisive back then. It's still extremely divisive today. It's pretty unpopular with a lot of people in that city and a lot of people in the region. And violence, drugs are still major problems in downtown Springfield. And I can confirm there's still a lot of those clubs that Councilor Jones said disappeared. They're still there. One's gone. It blew up in a gas explosion, but that's it.
Counselor Filio?
Thank you, Your Honor. With all due respect to Councilor Bosey and the PLD committee who've worked way too long on this ordinance, I'm going to agree with Councilor Jones on this, with the exception of his comments from Springfield, which I hope he'll delete that out. It doesn't make my argument any easier here. And the reason that I am voting against is, and I'm agreeing with Councilor Jones, is just because I agree that we shouldn't, if it's a legal business, just like bars and restaurants and other things are legal businesses, I don't think we should be restricting them any more than we should restrict a bar and a restaurant. You know, would a small casino downtown or any casino downtown be in my top pick? No, because I don't go to casinos. But with that said, I look at this as, we're not the morality police. You know, we all have our different opinions on the morals of a different issue that could be downtown. And I know Councilor Jones and I have been here for a long time, and Councilor Greenwald. I just want to go over some of the things as councilors that we've stood here and said, do not allow downtown. I made a couple notes from it. Tattoo shops. Before this council, it was argued that if we allow tattoo parlors, tattoo shops downtown, undesirables will flood downtown Keene. It will not be the downtown we once knew. We argued this on the council floor. Pawn shops, don't allow it. It's going to bring in organized crime. They're the only ones that go there. Outdoor seating for restaurants, do not allow it. It's going to be unfair to restaurants that don't have sidewalk space. That was argued for a long time. Then when we did outdoor seating, it says absolutely do not allow alcohol to be served at outdoor seating. There will be fights and brawls downtown, and the things we're going to expose our kids to will be unbelievable. These are all in background notes, by the way. Then when we did allow outdoor seating and alcohol to be served outdoors, which, by the way, we are now expanding the sidewalks to allow that to happen. That's all happened within a decade. Then it was like, if we're going to allow alcohol outside, it has to be meals because people are going to get so intoxicated they're going to be falling all over the sidewalks. Well, guess what? We have a couple of bars downtown that you don't have to have food outside. And then lately, it was like, who in hell is going to allow an axe throwing business to come downtown? Are you people crazy? Those are just examples of issues that have come before the city council that had the same type of argument. Downtown's going to go to hell if you allow this to happen. Well, it didn't. As a matter of fact, we're expanding the sidewalks. So this is just another case, and once again, we might not like what's before us, but we're not the morality police. Supply and demand will take care of it. Thank you.
Councilor Favelis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just real briefly want to say thank you to Chair Bosley, the Joint Committee. I know that they've worked hard on this and for longer than they would have liked and probably did a little more fine-tuning than they would have liked. I am going to be voting in support of this ordinance because the way that I see this process having played out is that the best part of this ordinance, which is restricting casinos from the downtown, to Councilor Jones and Filio's points, nothing to do for me with whether we should or shouldn't be allowing gambling. It has everything to do with the parking and traffic patterns and the need for, you know, spaces that are able to be turned over downtown. The best part is in, and the worst part, which was the totally unrelated and arbitrary electric vehicle charging stations, was taken out. So even though there continue to be parts of this ordinance that make me uncomfortable, that I think are too restrictive, I am going to be supporting this so that we have something on the books.
Councilor House?
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Let me end this perhaps with a positive spin. This ordinance does follow what we do with zoning everywhere. So we create different places for different things and different shapes and sizes. This doesn't restrict gaming at all. In fact, we made it more positive. Removal of the electric charging requirement, decreasing the maximum size that's required, and other features of this are all in there to encourage gaming to come. And I fully support that we develop this industry like any others. The items that Councilor Filiol mentions, that's part of the evolution that we go through as we grow and as we change and as we find out what we will be in the future. But this is a positive. This is where we've finally codified bringing charitable gaming into Keene. Thank you to the committee for doing that.
Councilor Williams.
Hi, I just want to disagree with the characterization that this is like any other business. This is a predatory business. This is casino gambling. It's like, sticking a siphon hose in our economy and, I don't know, sending it to Massachusetts or Connecticut or wherever it's these casinos. But it's gonna hurt a lot of people. People are gonna be, compulsive gamblers, which is, it's only about 1%, but that 1% has family, friends, people who care about them. I've seen situations where, an entire college savings account can get spent on casino gambling. And that's now going to happen in our community. And I'm not a fan. So there you go.
Councilor Roberts.
Yes, Your Honor. When I look at this, and then we heard some remarks at saying, we're not the morality police. People elect us because they expect us, well, not only to look out for the city and the economic growth, but we're also to help look out for their quality of life. I've been around the country in a lot of places where people say, let the free market go. And on some of those towns, okay, we won't pick on Springfield, but we'll pick on Boston, the combat zone. Anybody who knows about the combat zone, that was totally free market. Really dangerous. People only went there for things that you would not want to have happening in your community. So when we look at this stuff, and basically when we look at it, we got to look at what's the free market. We can't be prejudiced without justification for some businesses, but we still have to keep the fact that we were elected to protect the people of our community. We can talk about us being adults. We can go and say, yep, I'm not going there. But what about our kids that come down here on the weekend? Where are they going to go if we say, oh, you're not supposed to be in there? Who protects them? If someone comes stumbling out drunk or whatever, who protects them? We have to come up with a way that, again, repeating it, we allow the free market to go, but not at the expense of the quality of life and the safety of our community.
And Councilor Workman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll try to be brief, but I'm going to vote in favor of this only because I feel like it's a fair compromise. The PLD committee has worked really hard and listened to all our concerns. And while I originally was in favor of not making any changes, like I said, this is a fair compromise, I believe. And to Councilor Filio's point, maybe in a few years, if the gaming facilities that do sprout up are successful, maybe we will be back in front of City Council asking for an update to this, as we did with the sidewalk cafes and the alcohol. So who knows?
Thank you. Councilor Remy for a second time.
Call the question.
That is welcome. I will want to say that Councilor Bosley, thank you for your work on this. This has gone through a rigorous process, and I think, like any zoning regulation, it sets some guidelines and is really an asset to any developer who wishes to expand and find a different location. So I think I compliment you and all those who have worked with you on the process. Question's been called, and we'll go to a roll call on this.
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
No.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
No?
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald? Sorry, abstain. Thank you, Counselor.
Motion carries on a vote of 12 to 2.
Did it without me.
Sort of we had a sort of a sister ordinance to ordinance O 2023-16C, and it is ordinance O 2023-17B, which deals with the definition of a charitable gaming facility.
Counselor Bosley?
Move to adopt ordinance O-2023-17B.
Second.
And so moved by Counselor Bosley, seconded by Counselor Jones, and Counselor Bosley for the committee.
I think the clerk summed it up quite well. This is a companion ordinance. Once we have adopted the ordinance that identifies the different plans that we've put in place for this type of a use in our zoning code, we have to have a definition for it. And this definition has been put in front of all of you. It matches with the state definition, and it needs to go into the zoning code as well in order to make this a complete package.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Your Honor. Now that we do have an ordinance passed that does provide those restrictions and so on, it doesn't work unless we add the definition, so we should support this.
Restrictions or guidelines? Yes. We do need a definition. Any further comments? Seeing none, would the clerk call the roll?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
Okay.
Our next ordinance is relative to maintenance parking restrictions. And it is ordinance O 2024-21, an ordinance relating to maintenance parking restrictions.
Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second. Second.
Actually, Counselor, could you say move to adopt the ordinance?
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2024-21.
Thank you.
Correct.
Moved by Counselor Greenwald, seconded by Counselor
Thank you.
Remy, and Counselor Greenwald?
Thank you. Won't go into the detail. It's changing the regulations of overnight parking regarding the winter parking and so forth. So
So this is in alignment with our
Yes.
parking regulations. Any questions from counselors? Seeing none?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadbourne?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Our next one is also an ordinance, this one dealing with Gilboa Avenue parking restrictions. This particular report came out of the committee with a failed motion from the committee. It was a 1 vote in favor, 3 opposed. But we have before you ordinance O 2024-22, an ordinance relating to Gilboa Avenue parking restrictions.
So before we consider the recommendation of the committee, in the committee Counselor Greenwald abstained from the vote on this ordinance, and Counselor, do you wish to explain that? The council will need to act, this is a new...
I do apologize for taking the council's time with this very strange situation. The area in question is abutting to my building downtown. An individual that came with the request for this parking change has an issue with one of my tenants, one of my residents, that I cannot control what they do because they are individuals. So I'm kind of caught in between their rights, the city's regulations. In the situation where the resident does pay rent, I'm stuck there, the abutter, so I just asked to be recused. There's 14 of you. I'm sure you can work this thing out. It's a really very minuscule personal issue going on. Please, let me run with it. Thank you.
The council...
With the intent of the committee report.
No, I'm going to consider that it's an amendment to his filing. It's not been acted on by the council previously. If there's no objection to his recusal, then we will move forward with the consideration. Thank you. Councilor Filio.
Now we'll move the intent of the committee report.
Yeah.
Actually, the appropriate motion is move to adopt the ordinance.
It'll be a negative,
Yeah.
a positive vote will be to vote against the ordinance, correct?
Yes.
Because it came, okay, fine.
No.
No.
There is no, you
Yeah,
came
Mike?
up with no recommendation. So you
Okay.
put the motion on the floor. Generally, it's a motion in the positive, motion to adopt. You have your discussion, and then you'll vote.
Okay, fine. Basically, the committee discussed it. What happened was,
I'm sorry. I don't know who would have seconded that. You're moving to adopt the ordinance.
Right.
And then you'll speak to that. Need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Remy. Please
Ready to
present for the committee.
okay. Just don't know what to say now. Basically, what happened was before us with this ordinance that was brought forward, it was since we've had the winter restrictions, the proprietors of Lindy's, because cars could park in front of there now because of the change of the winter parking, they objected to it and they wanted to know, basically, they didn't want parking in front of their restaurant, so in the morning, those spaces would be open. The two problems with that the committee looked at, one is they have plenty of parking right next door to them in a huge parking lot. And two, if you grant something like this, I can imagine every other restaurant downtown that's open for breakfast or sells coffee or sells bagels is going to come to us and say, our turn, we want these spaces reserved for us out front also. So that's why the committee in a majority vote decided not to grant this request.
Thank you, Councilor. Further comments? Seeing none, the recommendation is to vote against this, and we will take a roll call.
But it is a motion to adopt.
It is a motion to adopt.
So yes vote is to adopt. No vote is not.
Counselor Bosley?
No.
Counselor Tobin?
No.
Now, wait, point of order.
Yes.
The motion on the floor, a yes vote, correct me if I'm wrong, Your Honor, a yes vote is to uphold the committee's negative finding? No? Okay, I just wanted to make sure before we get all the way through. Thank you. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, the motion was to adopt the ordinance. If you vote yes,
Okay.
you adopt the ordinance. If you vote no, then it goes down.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you, appreciate it.
Let's start it again.
Counselor Bosley?
No.
Counselor Tobin?
No.
Counselor Remy?
No.
Counselor Filio?
No.
Counselor Williams?
No.
Counselor Haas?
No.
Counselor Jones?
No.
Counselor Madison?
Ho, ho, no.
Counselor Roberts?
No.
Counselor Favelis?
No.
Counselor Lake?
No.
Counselor Workman?
No.
Counselor Chadbourne?
No.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Recused.
I'm out.
Yes.
Excused.
Motion carries 13 to 1 and 1 abstention.
It does not
Does not, and motion fails, 13-1. Thank you for the correction.
Our next ordinance is relative to Juneteenth exception to parking regulations, coming out of the committee on a motion to adopt, and we have ordinance O 2024-23, an ordinance relating to Juneteenth exception to parking regulations.
Counselor Greenwald for a motion.
Move the adoption of ordinance 0-2024-23.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Greenwald, seconded by Counselor Tobin.
Thank you. Very simple. This brings the Juneteenth holiday into accordance with the other parking regulations to not require parking be paid. Thank you.
Motion on the floor. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, would the clerk call the roll?
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadwell?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Our final ordinance for the evening is coming out of finance. It's relating to Chapter 62, which is the personnel chapter of the code. Committee is recommending adoption, and we have ordinance O 2024-25, an ordinance relating to personnel.
Counselor Powers for the committee. With a motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would move to adopt ordinance 2024-25.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Powers and seconded by Counselor Remy. Counselor Powers.
Thank you, Your Honor. Very quickly, even though this is a very large document, what you will see if you have a copy or you're able to read along line, most of it's line through. It's moving out of this ordinance that's been developed over a number of years when the personnel actions and the personnel procedures have changed so much that it's been attacked by the HR department as one whole document. And I've spent a lot of time to bring this forward that's cleaned up language issues that are inconsistent, procedures that were in the past. It now brings it more in line with what our practice is. And of course, it has all considerations every time of each of the union contracts. It's a very, very lengthy document, but it's really made it a lot easier for those that would use it every day, i.e. the employees, better. And it's been unanimous approval by our committee, and I hope the council will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further questions, comments from the council? Seeing none, the clerk call the roll.
Counselor Bosley?
Yes.
Counselor Tobin?
Yes.
Counselor Remy?
Yes.
Counselor Filio?
Yes.
Counselor Williams?
Yes.
Counselor Haas?
Yes.
Counselor Jones?
Yes.
Counselor Madison?
Yes.
Counselor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Favelis?
Yes.
Counselor Lake?
Yes.
Counselor Workman?
Yes.
Counselor Chadwell?
Yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Greenwald?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Our last item of business this evening is a resolution coming out of the Planning Licenses and Development Committee. They are recommending the adoption of it, and it is Resolution R 2024-43, a resolution relating to development on Class 6 highways and private roads.
Counselor Bosley for a motion.
Move to adopt resolution R-2024-43.
Second.
Counselor Bosley for the committee, seconded by Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. So you guys might recall that we've had a couple of incidences where we've had requests for building permits on private roads or Class 6 roads, and that the council had a policy on this because of a state RSA, and we have recently rescinded that policy. This is our opportunity to give ourselves back some guidelines as to how we'd like to move forward when these types of permit requests are put before us. And these are not elaborate or super restrictive ideas, but there's basically 4 of them that I'm going to outline for you. The proposed development would be consistent with our current future land use section of our master plan, which we're updating as we speak. The established development pattern will be aligned with the properties that it is abutting within 200 feet of the boundaries of that property. That it will not endanger public health, safety, welfare, that it will not place excessive burden on public improvements, facilities, services, or utilities, and that it will meet any other requirements of our state 674:41. So this gives the PLD committee some guidelines in order to be able to give you recommendations for adoptions of any requests for proposals for more housing opportunities on these types of roads in the future. And the committee unanimously wanted you to approve this.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Jones?
Thank you. I support this. I've liked it ever since we put the ban on it with the LDC a while ago. I think it's important for expansion, and just to let the city manager know, if we had done this a couple of months ago, we would have got a 150 on our expanded housing score. So I think we should support this.
Agreed. Okay, motions before us. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And with that, we have run through our agenda. Is this correct?
We are adjourned.
We are ready to adjourn.